Duty, honor, Bushido, seppuku, samurai. These words have been used in a wide array of context, but in today's world, they're commonly seen in entertainment. Over the years, wide varieties of movies, video games, and other media have glorified or utilized the samurai tenets of honor, duty, and sacrifice, with them usually being accompanied by dramatic dialogue and flashy sword fights. However, there are certain films of any genre that, while outwardly presenting themselves as flashy, overdramatic, and over the top, aim to tell a deeper story, something that outwardly conforms while simultaneously going against the grain. Directed by Takashi Miike, directed by Takashi Miike, and releasing in 2010, 13 Assassins is at first glance a run-of-the-mill samurai flick, full of sword fights and Japanese men with large foreheads talking about honor and duty and stuff. On a surface level, it's not too different from what's both preceded and followed it. But what if it was? What if I told you that 13 Assassins aims to rethink the genre of jidaigeki and samurai films as a whole? Is it successful? Let's discuss. Arbitrary plot summary time. The film takes place in 1844, at the tail end of the Edo period. Japan is currently under control of the Tokugawa shogunate, and one Lord Matsudara Naritsugu is depicted as outrageously evil, like to an unthinkable degree. He rapes, maims, tortures, and senselessly kills pretty much anyone he feels like killing, be it nobles or random people. He suffers zero consequences for these antics, as he's protected by his half-brother, the shogun. This makes a lot of people very unhappy. So, the shogun's justice minister decides to hire a samurai by the name of Shinzemon, who, seeing the opportunity for an honorable death, recruits 10 other samurai to assassinate Naritsugu. On Naritsugu's path from Edo to Akashi, the assassins booby-trap the holy hell out of a small town he'll be passing through. When he arrives, they're surprised to learn that 200 men are accompanying him. After a 45-minute action scene, only Shinzemon and Shinrokuro are left to face off against Naritsugu and Hanbei, his loyal retainer. Shinzemon kills both Hanbei and Naritsugu before dying himself, leaving Shinrokuro as, debatably, the last one standing. Now, as a historical piece, one must wonder how accurate it is to the events it's based on. The answer is that it's not. It wasn't based on any specific real events at all. I couldn't find any evidence to suggest otherwise. The only real person portrayed in the film is Naritsugu, and I also found no evidence that he did anything even remotely close to what was shown in the film, besides, well, dying. These fictionalized events and characters are not at all uncommon in historical pieces, especially with something as distinct as samurai media. But where things get interesting is the depiction of the samurai themselves. You see, one of the most important changes to Japan as a society was the rise of the warrior class in the late 13th century. This initiated a radical shift in politics, economic structure, and policies both domestic and foreign. With this came samurai, who were retainers for their local lords. This also came with the Bushido Code, a strict spiritual code of honor and loyalty over all else. Or rather, that would be the case had Bushido been a real universal concept back then. In reality, there was no set of 7 values or anything of the sort. As a matter of fact, modern English texts mention Bushido far more often than the pre-modern Japanese ever did. It was only in the Edo period that the term started to gain some form of attention in Japanese texts, and even then it was seen as a narrow and outdated set of ideals compared to the Confucian ideals commonly adopted by warriors at the time. While these Confucian values did emphasize things like duty and courage, they clashed heavily with the reckless and irrational tenets of Bushido. The film depicts samurai with a variety of the traits I just mentioned, blending realism with the classic samurai tropes we're familiar with. Naritsugu, the villain, forces the cartoonishly evil ideas of unwavering loyalty onto his subordinates, even if he's an outrageously corrupt individual. The assassins fight for more sensible notions like morality, justice, and meaning, but their plan is reckless, irrational, and downright suicidal. They're all throwing their lives away for the sake of killing one guy. It's a very nuanced and ambiguous blend of realistic and normal concepts such as morality and corruption, with more exaggerated themes to make for unique and entertaining cinema. But this unique blend of realism and anti-realism goes further with the film's action and visuals. Remember that 45-minute action scene I mentioned earlier? Well, it's just full of stuff to talk about. Now, I wouldn't say 13 Assassins is a deconstruction of the samurai genre in the same way that Blood Meridian deconstructs westerns, but they are somewhat similar in their chaotic depictions of violence in comparison to their respective genres. Early on, the film directly states that there is no samurai code on the battlefield, immediately setting the expectation for what combat will look like. According to Miike himself, most of the actors playing the assassins weren't experienced with the sword, having only crammed a bunch of training shortly before filming. So, rather than elegant and orderly sword battles, each fight feels like a desperate struggle for survival. There's no shortage of blood and brutality as people are ran through, sliced, stabbed, bludgeoned, or decapitated. At one point, a man is set on fire before being cut in half. And look at this shot. Pretty cool, right? It's just one of several examples of this whole battle scene being visually striking. As the battle descends into chaos and bodies begin to pile up, the film descends into a somewhat different art direction than before. The lack of music, the burning buildings, the streets littered with weapons and corpses, it results in this dramatic, almost hellish atmosphere. Once the fight is over, there's an eerie silence that creates an almost dreamlike space as Shinro Kuro is the only living soul among corpses, smoke, and debris. Wait, who's that? Before talking more about this final scene, let's talk about Shinro Kuro. He's one of the only characters in the whole film that gets any real development. While having occasional hype moments, a lot of the other assassins are static characters, or are treated as fodder, whose main purpose is to look cool and die. Shinro Kuro is technically a samurai, but he's taken to a lifestyle of drinking, gambling, and womanizing. Truly a man after my own heart. Despite these incredibly respectable hobbies, he seems to be very aimless in life, being dissatisfied with his career as a samurai. When Shinzemon, his uncle, approaches him for recruitment, he takes the opportunity, leaving his wife and basically telling her he doesn't expect to survive. While it's never explicitly stated why he accepts his uncle's offer, I suspect that he was inspired to finally do something meaningful with his skills. Or he just really loves gambling. God, what a guy. In the woods, the assassins encounter Koyata, a homeless guy they ran into who volunteers to help them and becomes the 13th assassin. Koyata is also something of an oddball, even more so than Shinro Kuro. He has no formal training, no discipline, and is just perpetually covered in dirt. His only real goal in life is to find the girl that he likes, and not much else. With this in mind, at around 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 34 seconds, Shinro Kuro has just witnessed the noble sacrifice of his uncle, who was a wise and experienced samurai. During this long take, he wanders the remains of what was once the town. He's completely alone in this desolate place that looks like something out of a nightmare. Despite his solitude, he runs into Koyata, who was just killed mere minutes ago. They chat for a moment, with Koyata reaffirming his goals to find his lady friend. Shinro Kuro, on the other hand, after all he's done and witnessed over the course of the film, claims he's going to quit being a samurai, instead wanting to become a bandit and travel to America. What's going on here? Well, Koyata and Shinro Kuro were the oddballs of the group, with neither of them enjoying the samurai lifestyle, and I think, because of this, Shinro Kuro saw him as something of a kindred spirit, even if they didn't interact all that much. So, when wandering the dreamlike wastes of the battle, contemplating everything, he hallucinates Koyata's presence and decides he's done all he's needed to as a samurai. But we never see him become a bandit or do anything after the battle, likely signifying that, now that this part of his life is complete, the world is his oyster. With Shinro Kuro in mind, along with the themes and overall style of the film, it's clear that 13 Assassins is trying to say something about samurai films as a whole. Don't get me wrong, it's not a rejection of samurai media, as it's a remake of a film from the 60s, but it presents the key tenets samurai are known for differently. The concepts of honor, duty, and loyalty, even to noble causes, are portrayed as messy and inconsistent, but ultimately human. By the end of the battle, even after Naritsugu's satisfying death, there's no real triumph, just silence and destruction, with the only survivor being the man who wants to walk away from it all. Rather than deconstructing samurai films, it revitalizes and rethinks the genre while still staying true to the classics, which was Miike's plan from the start. Hey champs, thanks for watching. In case you didn't see that short I uploaded a couple weeks back, this video was originally my final project in a class I took for my minor degree in film. I got a pretty good grade on it. After recovering from my post-semester creative fatigue, I finally got around to touching it up and uploading it to YouTube as I intended. As for what's next with the channel in 2026, the first regular upload will be the Funny Moments compilation from the August streams. As for streaming, the first stream will be tomorrow, on New Year's Day. Then maybe followed by live streams every Tuesday and Thursday, though that's subject to change. I'm just going to stream whatever game I want rather than sticking to a specific goal like with the backlog streams. Thanks again and Happy New Year.